Before we begin this video, I would just like to let you all know that I am not a licensed therapist or a licensed psychiatrist. All I have is a little bachelor's of science in psychology, and so I would like you to take all of my advice with a grain of salt. If you happen to know you do happen to have a mental health disorder, and maybe some of this information might be conflicting to what your psychiatrist or therapist is telling you, obviously I would like you to go with your licensed professional's opinion and advice and information. Once again, as I said, I am not a licensed therapist or psychiatrist or anyone necessarily in the mental health field, just a bachelor's of psychology, and this advice is more things that have just sort of helped me personally and helped my friends, family members, and things like that. So take everything you hear with a grain of salt, and as usual, if you feel you have true issues, true problems with your mental health, I do ask that you please go ahead and look in your area for a licensed therapist or anyone that is able and certified to help you with your mental health. And if finances are an issue, check your area for any mental health services that might be available to you for free or at certain rates. And let's get started with this show. Hello. So the holidays are coming up pretty quickly around here, and I just wanted to do a quick video to kind of check in on everyone and just kind of see how you're doing before the chaos begins. And of course, whether that chaos for you includes just getting ready for whatever holidays you're going to be celebrating, getting ready for those bills to come in, getting ready for family members who aren't usually there, being there in your face 24/7, whatever you need to do to kind of prepare. Just wanted to do a quick check-in with y'all to see if you're mentally ready. Are you mentally prepared for the holidays? So I'm gonna apologize right now. A lot of my neighbors are leaving their dogs outside, which I don't get. Like, we're in an apartment complex. You're already paying for the dog. Why not keep them inside? Anyway, it's kind of chilly out right now, so you might hear some howling, you might hear some music, you might hear my other neighbors talking about the neighbors. Just general, there goes one, just general chaos. But I wanted to do a quick check-in with y'all just because I know this is a difficult time. Whether it's difficult for you every year, always, since you were a kid, whether it's difficult now just because you're dealing with anxiety or depression, or whether it's difficult because maybe you've lost someone, or maybe the impending doom that is the 20s are fast approaching and you're realizing now maybe you didn't do everything that you set out to do earlier in the year. I know I'm kind of dealing with that right now. I have been in another rut. I know every time I do a video, I'm like, I've been in a rut. I get in them a lot. Maybe monthly, maybe a couple times a month. Anyway, the important things about ruts are we're supposed to pull ourselves out of them, but occasionally it is nice to have a little bit of help. So, holiday check-in. How are you going to be helping your mental health? Are you going to a therapist and making sure that you're prepared for everything that's about to come your way? Maybe you're like me and things as simple as where you live are starting to kind of trigger anxiety. Maybe you're just kind of trying to figure out what things are making you a little uneasy about the holidays coming up. And of course, that's okay, as long as you're figuring it out. Or if you definitely might need the extra help, of course, finding a nice therapist or psychiatrist to help you out and figure that all out, all before the end of the year, is also great as well. Just make sure you're mentally prepared so we can avoid the epic meltdowns that often can come with the holidays. Whether it's your family driving you insane, you guys don't get along politically, or someone wants to watch this on TV and you've been watching it all day, and if you hear it again, you're gonna go nuts. Or maybe you're recently alone, recently single, and the holiday is gonna be new just because the quiet of where you are is maybe just creeping in a little too much. I've been there, definitely. Things just kind of magnify. It's weird how silence can kind of become loud. So maybe you're going through something like that. Like I said, maybe you're at a point in your life that you're looking back and you're not sure you're where you wanted to be or where you were planning to be. And that, of course, can bring on more anxiety around the holidays when you're suddenly seeing old friends or family members who are successful, or what you consider successful, even though we all put on a brave face, especially around this time. I mean, we're taking pictures of presents under the tree, we're taking pictures of gifts and loved ones and significant others, and it's just kind of a lack of reality. If that's possible. It's weird how these holidays can be both very beneficial and wonderful and warm and fuzzy, and also just not at all a check back into reality. You know, some people, we go overboard and we purchase all these gifts and then we get hit with that credit card bill at the end of the year. Or maybe you're looking at your friends and you're seeing that they're traveling and they're doing this and that and they've done this and that, and your family's not in the place that you'd like them to be. Your mental health is not in the place you'd like it to be, and things just feel out of place. I know that's a lot to throw at you, which is why we gotta do these check-ins. You should do a check-in with yourself maybe once a month, maybe a couple of times a month. You know, people always say couples need to check in with each other financially, as far as the relationship is going, physically, emotionally, every aspect. But sometimes we forget to check in with ourselves. And I think when we get wrapped up in easy things that take us out of reality of the moment, or things that distract us like Facebook and Instagram, it's really easy to forget to check in with, how are you really? How are you really right now? Because if you're not sure now, or you are sure and it's not looking good, the holidays can be really triggering for you. So we want to just check in with ourselves and make sure we're mentally prepared for any toxic people that might be coming into our lives, any harsh realities that we're going to have to come to terms with, anything that might just come your way. Maybe you're not making as much as you did last year, and the kids maybe aren't going to get the Christmas that they've always had or that they've expected. Maybe you're injured and suddenly there's a turn of events and you're just not feeling the holidays. Anything can kind of get thrown your way. And nothing can be more triggering than having everything thrown your way all at once and inviting outside forces in there. We're getting ready for the holiday parties. We're getting ready for family reunions and class reunions and re-meeting loved ones. And it can be a lot when those outer forces come into your personal reality of the situation. And I just want you all to kind of stop and check in with yourselves and go through in your mind what things you think could trigger your anxiety or your depression this holiday season. You know, if we want to get personal, a couple of weeks ago, my apartment was such a trigger. Like, you've seen maybe in the decorating videos, some of my living room. And what tends to happen is when you have eclectic style, things get cluttered quickly, and the clutter takes over, and eventually you're outnumbered by objects. And that definitely happened to me a couple of weeks ago, and it just became very overwhelming. I usually do a good job of weekly cleaning and just kind of, not necessarily deep cleaning, but a weekly pickup. Usually good about trying to exercise and meal prep and plan and things like that. And as my health started kind of to go, recently got bronchitis. As my health started to kind of deteriorate, those things lose focus. And then of course, Halloween in general was a fun month. The whole month of October was really fun for me socially. Got to meet up with old friends, got to go to RAINN Fest. That was really fun and great. I'll show some pictures here or something. But it led to me neglecting things here with my YouTube, which I apologize for. I really want to hold myself accountable for not posting because I really want to do this. And it got me neglecting some goals I had. And all of that just sort of built up. Meanwhile, the job is getting hectic. We're getting to that point in the year where it gets crazier in our office. I'm getting home late. It's dark outside. Like, that's also something to consider. And when you pair all that with coming home and just kind of being surrounded with clutter, and this needs to get done, oh gosh, I need to do this, it becomes a lot. So personally, my mom came down a couple of weeks ago, which was really great. And all she did was help me declutter and organize, and it was the best. I fed her, we watched, My 600-Pound Life in Hoarders every now and then. And she really just came in and focused and helped me focus and just was someone there to help direct me and declutter and everything. And the apartment looks better. I already feel better. And that personally was something I knew would be a trigger in the future as we get closer to the holidays. There's gonna be wrapping paper in here. I kind of wanna have a party or two. I'd like to have friends over. I'm gonna be decorating again. Stay tuned for that video. And there's gonna be a lot more coming in here, and I really needed to go ahead and take care of what I could right then and there so I can avoid any bursting of tears in the future. Let's be honest, it happens. So I wanna do a check-in with y'all. I want you to, if you can, and be completely honest with yourself, open that journal, jot it down on a sticky note, whatever you can do to get it down. I want you to write down some things that you've noticed have triggered you through the holidays. And I want you to either research or find a therapist or, like I said, a great psychiatrist who can help you figure out and narrow down those things and find some good and natural and okay coping mechanisms to go ahead and help you de-stress or mentally prepare for whatever might be coming your way. This toxic family member, trouble with substance abuse around this time, we should be doing monthly check-ins with ourselves, and we should be honest with ourselves. If things are anxiety inducing for us, we need to be honest with ourselves and look at ways to fix it. Please seek out a therapist or a psychiatrist, especially if you know chemically your mental health tends to suffer around this period, or if you know emotionally this is a difficult period for you. I know there's some people who go through loss throughout the year and can really feel it around this time, no matter how many people are in the room. And maybe it's time to seek out a therapist and talk to them about that, and they can give you so many helpful tips about coping and about how to address your loss and things like that. General just check-in. Check in with yourself. Check in with yourself before it's too late. We want to avoid tears. We want to avoid anxiety. We want to avoid fights. We want to avoid anger. Anything that's going to trigger strong emotional responses, we want to go ahead and avoid. And in order to do that, we need to prepare and we need to be aware of what those triggers might be. Or just maybe something doesn't trigger you. Maybe it's just a general annoyance. We do need to figure that out before it becomes harmful to ourselves and our mental health. So, check in with yourself, make that list. I mean it. Make that list, figure out the things that you're a little worried about, you're a little hesitant about, and one by one, try to figure out ways to tackle them. Or sit down with a friend who you really trust and who always gives good advice. Good advice, please. Not feel-good advice. There's good advice and there's feel-good advice. Good advice is the stuff that is, in general, good for you and going to be beneficial. Feel-good advice is advice that's going to make you feel good for 5 minutes, and then the moment you do it or don't do it, you immediately revert back to that anxiety or depression. Go for the good advice, not the feel-good. I think we live in the feel-good too much. Social media, once again, I'm going to drop it out there. It's a little to blame for that feel-good advice, but we got to get back to the good. A friend who has good advice, honest advice, unbiased advice is also great, sometimes a little hard. Find a friend to help you tackle it. If therapy is an issue financially, maybe look into some resources that are available. If you're a college student especially, utilize that. I wish I'd known that our counseling center was free while I was a student. I'd have been there maybe every week. Probably for the best, honestly. If you can find any other resources that can help your mental health, go ahead and find those before the chaos of the holidays begins, because last thing you want to do is distort any possibly good memories. Or look at it this way. We want to start out the new year, the 20s, with as many good vibes coming our way as we can. And if that means we need to go ahead and get ugly with ourselves and figure out what we need to do to mentally prepare for the holidays, I think you should do it. And once again, if you feel you need help, please always find it. If it's a financial problem, look in your area for any resources or just general good advice, not feel good advice. And this is your check-in. Let's do this more often. I'm gonna try to check in with y'all. Try to. I will check in with y'all. And once again, happy holidays. And once again, please prepare yourselves.